try and take my wage. No, the cops, we've already lost control of half the city as it is. We don't need you coming around here doing splits if it's not what I'm thinking it is, okay? No. So I'm gonna give you...
Alright, so I want to get off to a start and say I mean no malice to either Cloud9 or DJ Payne, and I really respect DJ Payne for the things he does for the industry. He does a lot of this sort of stuff and it's awesome. I want to get into a company called Identifyy. I want to hear it down in the comments if it's been successful for you and how it's worked out. So let's get into this video, let's check it out.
And so I was like, okay, let me put a few beats in there and see what happens. The first time I did it, I think I had made like $600 or something like that.
I never wanted to use a content ID system to protect my beats. You know, maybe I'm wrong. That's a big reason I want to have this conversation with you, because you actually do this.
Yo, so DJ Payne is awesome in the industry. He really does help a lot of people out, and I feel like he's very genuine in the things he does in his interviews. So let's get into some of the stuff that happened with this experience. I want to go through some of the stuff first I talked about.
Okay, so basically you go through a third party for content ID.
Yes.
And this is good for, because a lot of producers have channels, but they're not monetized because they don't meet YouTube's minimum requirements.
Right.
So you just start uploading your beats and content with your beats in the background, and then you end up claiming all of your channel's content through this third party, and then you can generate money that way. So it's a workaround.
So basically what they were saying is they're uploading, so Cloud9 would be uploading some stuff onto YouTube, for example. He has a channel that's not able to be monetized because it doesn't meet the requirements, but he's using other parties, for example, content ID parties, to obtain the money that was, you know, ad revenue on these videos. Now, I don't even know if this is legit or not, if you can do it, because it seems like from what I've seen so far in other videos that I've researched, people are talking about those type of videos not able to be monetized per se because it's YouTube advertising. But anyway, that's what he's talking about.
Revenue, but you're still making some type of money off of your YouTube content. It's a hack.
Correct. And
what company did you go through for that?
So there's two companies. One is AdRev, and the other one is, I think, Hawk, I believe.
So when he said AdRev, that's one of the companies. Hawk is the company who owns Identifyy, or it's registered as Hawk when you get the copyright, I guess, check mark against your video, if that's what it is. But that's what I've seen so far that I've noticed in the terms and conditions, which we'll go through in just a second. But it talks about Identifyy using a company called Hawk. So this company, from what I saw in the terms, they take a 30-70 split. So they're taking 30% of the cut, you get 70. Now, I've got to read this in the terms and conditions to see if it's actually accurate, but that's what they were talking about.
AdRev may have changed its name, but if you Google AdRev, the new company will pop up, but it's known as AdRev. And the other one, like I said, is Hawk or either /Identifyy.
Yeah, /Identifyy, pre-workout.
Now, one thing I will say is, like, before any producer does this, like, there are some things you need to consider. One, you got to make sure, like, you're not using any type of loops. So all my stuff in content ID.
So anyway, I'll link this video down below. You guys can go watch it. It really is very informative, and I learned a lot from it, and thanks to DJ Payne for doing it. But anyway, he talks about a little bit here with being careful with the content ID, and this is kind of key.
I can't remember which one it is, but for one of them, there's a 2-year agreement, meaning that if you want your track to be removed, you have to wait for 2 years. And with the other one, there's no weight on it.
The research that I did with Identifyy, as far as I could tell, it seems like a 3-year contract. Another video that I watched alluded to that as well. I have to look in the terms, but you guys need to check this out for yourselves as well. But I was just very curious about this Identifyy because I've got a whole backlog of music sitting there, literally probably about 300 songs of just stuff I've never released. It sits in a hard drive and does nothing, and it's literally time that I've spent creating this stuff. Some of it's really good, some of it's not so good, some of it's lounge, some of it's hip-hop. I don't know. It's just a lot of different stuff I've got sitting there, and I really want to get it out and do something with it, and I feel like I'm wasting my time not doing anything with it. And also, I love the creative aspect, and I want to try and figure out this music industry a little bit more as far as how it works for getting monetization. So anyway.
It's probably like maybe 3 to 5 days, but they can remove it. but you won't earn anything after that. So just like I said, I can't remember which company it is, but if you do, make sure like you read exactly the terms in which you're getting yourself into.
Now that's key what he just said then. Make sure you read the terms. Me working back, 8 years back in past in insurance, it's definitely key to read the terms. So let's go check out the terms and see what they say. When I emailed them, actually they emailed me back after I set up the account. I'm not going to go into my account too much because there's a lot of stuff in there I don't want to have to block out and all that stuff. But they basically ask you to fill out your details, your full name, your address, your social, all that kind of stuff. And they'll ask you to provide your account so they can pay you. And basically then they'll start to email you once you start submitting tracks. Now this is kind of where it got a little bit weird for me, and this is where I want everybody's input as to who has experience with this particular company, Identifyy, so I can know whether or not I should or shouldn't proceed any further. But the weirdest part for me was this section here in the account registration, which I don't necessarily agree with. And I think it's kind of a little bit weird that they even have this in the terms. But anyway, it says account registration. You must register an account. And in order to, like every company has an account registration process. So basically they're saying you must register an account in order to use the services or most of the services. When you register to use services, you'll be required to provide certain information, e.g. email address, which is fine. I did that. And then a password for your account or your Facebook public profile. I don't know why specifically Facebook. I guess if you've got music and stuff up there, that's probably where they want to get that information from. But it says a password for your account. I don't know if that's asking for the password for your public profile or asking for a password for the account you set up. But anyway, nonetheless, it says your email and password. You agree to maintain a confidentiality and security of your email and password and remain responsible for all uses of your email and password and activity. Basically what you'd normally do. So anyway, where it kind of got weird for me was when they started requesting information about my actual account and they had information about me that I didn't provide. The information they had, which I'll go to my email that I'll show you guys. Now, this is the email trail that they started to forward to me, and you can kind of see there's stuff here which they started to request. So basically, a long story short, they requested information from me through this email address that I had already submitted songs to Identifyy. I think I had about 3 different tracks on there, and then it started to request stuff, and they talked about the content ID. So they said, has this particular song, one of the music that or all of the music, I guess, has any of it been content ID'd with DistroKid? I said no. The songs that I uploaded to them had not been. The next thing that I was a little bit then strange was they asked for all the links, which I guess that's fair enough. They want to know where my music is that I post. But if they're going to find my music where I'm posting it, I already know where that is, and I don't know how that helps them to identify or content ID music that's elsewhere. So that kind of just straight away, I don't know. I don't get that. That makes no sense, but there must be a reason for it. So anyway, so I sent them some of the links that I have my music and where that goes to, and then I forwarded them all that information as far as, all the details for that. Following that then, they emailed me back with this email saying, for your account authentication process or purposes, can you please write a support at identifyy.com. So that looks like a legit email. That's fine. So I'm like, okay, no problem. And then they said from this email address, n828music@gmail. I'm like, how did you get that email address? So that's the first thing that came into my mind. And they asked me to provide this code, which I'll black out now, but the code basically is there. And they said, provide this code and then we'll start to move forward from there. Smiley face. This is kind of where the spidey sense got a little bit triggered. And I said, may I ask why that is required and how did you obtain this email address? Now, it's a publicly available email, so if they obtained it from my YouTube, that's fine, no problem. I use that for mixing, mastering, all that sort of stuff. That's exactly what I use it for, so it's easily obtainable if they looked through there, but they didn't tell me how. Then they said, response to that, we need to verify you own the links you sent us. Okay, they didn't answer where they got the email from then. I said, what other information will be requested after this? They responded, are you able to send us a verification email? No answer to my question. I said, I can, but I'd like to know how sending that shows that I own the links. Not all the links are connected to one email. So if they have that email address and I verify it, what are they going to request every single email they can find? It's like they're doing detective work on me or something? I don't understand this. So then it said, to continue the review, please verify your domain. We will proceed then. And I'm like, is this kind of a scam or what's the deal here? And then I asked them, I said in these 3 dot points with 1, 2, 3, I said, you haven't answered my questions, ? How did you obtain the email? How does sending an email from this email prove I own the links I provided? Because again, it could be multiple emails that are connected to these accounts. I said, what questions do you have once I have done this? Please answer these questions before I proceed. They responded saying this domain was obtained from links you provided. The next steps will not be known until you complete this step. This is the last attempt to verify your domain. Okay. Anyway, I responded back. Basically, you're emailing me from a different domain yourself, which is this alexa.shadid at Identifyy, and then it's followed by a bunch of numbers with intercom mail / jar jar jar, whatever it is, .com. Basically, they're emailing me from a different domain, then asking me to email their actual official domain. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so it's kind of concerning to me, I said, and requesting information without explanation. Your email responses are very blunt, and it gives me no faith that you're even able to content ID my music. It seems like you're looking at places I put up my music and I already know about, which I'm not sure how you're going to be able to assist me with content ID if this is the level of sophistication. I mean, no disrespect, but if you can't clearly explain the next steps, I don't feel confident in providing further details. So basically, this is where it kind of just ended for me, because they basically said, unfortunately, the admin team was not able to approve your tracks, which I don't know how that's got to do with my tracks. And they said, as you did not pass verification. Anyway, if you're still unclear, please check the terms of service and the agreement, which is how I did, and it led me to this page. So long story short, I want to know if anybody out there has had an experience with this company. Have you actually finalized their verification process, and have you then obtained any sort of financial benefit from doing this? Because from what I can tell, it seems like they take a split.
I don't know what the split is.
Which to me, that's kind of cool. They're not actually asking for a payment up front, which that would be even more weird to me. But anyway, that's what it looks like. As always, I'm not here to bash anyone. I just want to know if the truth is the truth and if this is legit. If it is, let's get it, and I will go through it from there. So peace out always. Love you guys.
Catch you. Take my wage. No, the cops, we've already lost control of half the city as it is. We don't need you coming around here doing splits if it's not what I'm thinking it is, okay? No. So I'm going to give you a